What up, everybody? It's Stocks for Real, and like I promised you, today we're going to talk about SoFi. I've been drumming up this video for a minute now, but as we get closer to earnings, as your boy is looking to take a vacation starting tomorrow, I'm just like, I got to get this out, right? So, what are we talking about? A few things. One, SoFi's earnings coming up, so we need to talk about the plays. We got to talk about how we're playing the stock before earnings hits, right? Number two, I got to talk to you about where SoFi is as far as market cap and what it means for it when it comes to the S&P 500. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everybody. So, it's your boy Stocks for Real. You already know what time it is. We've been eating off of SoFi this entire time. Now, I'm going to dive into these details first, and then I'm going to talk about the plays we played, and then how we're playing earnings. Okay, so let's get into it. So, essentially, we're diving into some big news for the investors, and essentially, it's about how close SoFi is to actually getting into the S&P 500. So I want to break it down for you guys though, in the simplest way possible. That way you kind of understand what all of this means. Okay, so what is the S&P 500? So let's start with the basics. The S&P 500 is like the exclusive club for top 500 companies in the US. So it includes big names like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, and being part of that club is like a huge deal because it shows that a company is strong, stable, and important to the economy, right? So it also means that more investors and funds will pay attention to the stock, which can help boost the value of the company, right? So what are the rules to join? Okay, so how does a company like SoFi get into the S&P 500? Well, there's a few key rules they have to meet. So think of it like a checklist, all right? So one, market cap. The company needs to be worth at least $14.5 billion, okay? Number two is liquidity, right? At least half of the shares needs to be available for the public to trade it, all right? Number three is profitability. So it needs to have made money in the last quarter and the last 4 quarters combined, okay? Number four, it has to be a US company. Headquarters has to be here in the United States. Number five, it has to be listed on a major exchange like a NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, okay? Number six, it has to fit in the S&P balance. So this is a judgment call by the committee to make sure the company fits in, essentially, okay? Number seven, right, publicly traded for a while. So it essentially needs to have been publicly traded for at least 6 to 12 months on the stock market, okay? So all that being said, let's talk about where SoFi stands currently, okay? Bring up this chart. So one, qualification of the market cap. SoFi is worth, hold on, there's an update. Hold on. We've been running. SoFi's market cap right now at the time of this recording, according to Webull, is $19.57 billion, okay? I asked AI some of this data and it gave me a market cap of 8.5 billion. So we already knew that it wasn't true, right? So let's put a check where it says meet requirements. It says no, it's a yes, right? Let's talk about the next one, liquidity, right? So over 80% of SoFi shares are available for trading, right? So the float needs to be 80%. We meet that qualification. The financial viability, right? The profitability. So the good news is SoFi has been reporting GAAP profitability for the last 4 quarters, and they're going to do it again on the 27th. I just feel it. I feel like I know it. They're checking the boxes. So is it US based? Yes, they're based in San Francisco, so meets that requirement. The major exchanges, they've been listed on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol SOFI for a minute. And if you guys were rolling before the SPAC merger, it's been a part of that too. So sector representation. So SoFi is growing in the fintech space, which could make them stronger, a strong addition to the S&P 500. But this one is up to the committee, like I said, like the balance. Okay. Publicly traded for a while, like we just talked about. They've been on the market since 2021. So that's another yes. So what does this mean for SoFi, right? So SoFi is doing great in some areas, like profitability and being a US based company. It actually exceeds the market cap. So we've had more retail and more institutional investors come in and pump this stock, right? So that's what it means. So why does this matter to you? Okay, so the why you care for SoFi getting into the S&P 500. Well, when a company joins the S&P, right, it often gets a big boost. That's because large funds and retirement accounts have to buy the stock, which increases demand. Plus, being in an S&P 500 tells the world this company's legit, right? So pay attention to what the whales are doing though. Who's loaded up on SoFi? You got Cathie Wood's ARK, you have BlackRock, you have Vanguard. So you have JP Morgan. You already had these large institutions already loading the boat on SoFi. For a while, it was more of a retail thing where retail owned majority of SoFi, where institutions were floating anywhere between 40 and 46% ownership, right? So it was a battle, and we had to wait for the moment for the institutions to catch up and take over, right? When they have more money invested, they want the stock to go up, right? So in conclusion, as it relates to the S&P 500, SoFi has been making moves, and while they're not right there just yet, they're pretty much there. I think it's inevitable. They're closer than ever. So I'd like to know what you think. Will they beat this next earnings? Let me know in the comments, right? I already gave you my earnings prediction. You can check that out in another video. I'm not gonna waste your time here. If you found the breakdown helpful, make sure you hit that like and subscribe and share to other SoFi fans until I make the next video, which earnings, I'm going to be on a beach somewhere, so we'll see. So let's get out of this and let's talk about the plays. All right, so SoFi, I told everybody how I was playing SoFi, and this was months ago, right? Months ago, I said once we got to the month of the end of December, right, going into January, I said I was going to take $3,000 to $5,000 and I was going to dollar cost average into SoFi specific options. I was going to split that up, and where I was going to have 60% of it being dollar cost average up to earnings, and then I had the other 40% on reserve for the day of or the day after based on how the stock moved. Well, what happened? Well, your boy did the thing, right? I put in, I think more than $3,000, right? And all of that money that I put in already went up 300 to 400%, maybe a little bit more. I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but just know that we did our thing, right? So I'm out of most of my SoFi long positions now. Given the market, the fact that we're back above $18, best believe I got out a little early. I got out around $17.96. That was my take profit the take profit target from the max take profit target of $19.99, right? So I got out because that was my wall, right? I made more than what I wanted to make playing the earnings. So understand this: the name of the game is making money. There's no chance in heck that I was going to be holding options contracts that were up 3, 4, 500% into earnings, which is an unknown space, right? This data that's behind a curtain that we have no idea what it's going to do to the stock. So I would never put that capital at risk. So what did I do? I take my profit, and now I'm waiting. I'm being patient. I'm not hopping back into SoFi. I'm paying attention to the price action, seeing how the stock moves. I'm paying attention to the volume. Okay. So as you can see on the screen, I gave you a red and a green zone. Okay. So you see those rectangular boxes? That's to me where I see our limit being capped at in the short term. Okay. The green at the bottom, that's where I see us potentially falling to. That is a key support region. Now we've spiked through that before and came back up. So we really have to pay attention to that range between 1367 and 1397. Now I'm talking in between is 1694. Now 1694 is a point of control. It's a key level of the pricing. So is where the buyers and sellers are actually in agreement of the price. Now this actually doubles as a support or resistance level. Okay, so 1694, pay attention to that. Okay, you can see on the screen how price has reacted to it. Before our current run up, you had a head and shoulders pattern that played out, right? You got your head, hold on, let me see. You got your head, you got your shoulders, and then you got this drop down to the level that I told you about, which this level ain't new, right? Like I've been talking about SoFi levels for years now. So you can go to my playlist and take a look at every one of them. They're pretty much aligned. All right. So now between this level, right? So this blue line right here, this blue line is the point of control, right? This is a support resistance, right? Above is bullish, below is bearish. Okay. But you have this zone that I'm thinking that we're going to be in between $18 and $15.91. So we just got to just pay attention to these zones, because essentially these could be like some breakout areas. Okay. I'm not trading SoFi really in these zones. Like I might, if I see it come down here, right, and I see it wick up with strength, then I might hop in a long. Same here. If I see like an abandoned baby, a shooting star, engulfing bar on a longer time frame, then I might go short, right? Like it's very rare for me to play short with SoFi, but you know, it is what it is. The ideal situation for me, look, hold up, while we're here. Supposed to keep this clean, but here we are. So we know that SoFi's earnings is on the 27th, right? So my goal, what I would like to see, I'm going to zoom in. Okay. What I would like to see heading into earnings is for SoFi to fall. Either fall to this level of 1590 or come all the way down here, right? Before earnings, before rock is up. So I think it's very likely for this to happen, for us to either come down to retest the 1690 or come all the way down and test the 1590, okay, before earnings. Crossing my fingers, right? I want SoFi to come down so I can pick it up, because I will be playing earnings if I see a sell-off. If SoFi rockets before earnings, right? Let's say it gets all the way up to 1991. Well, I'm not touching it. I mean, if it rockets, it rockets. I'm waiting for right before close, and I'm likely to take a very small short position, because typically what happens the day before earnings, the opposite ends up happening the day after or the day of earnings. So if SoFi rockets the day before earnings, then there's a strong chance that you see a sharp pullback, right? Rather is here to retest this the 1796 level that I told you guys about, or crash through that, right? Just to wick up. So I would be looking for this crash and look for a nice solid bottom wick, which is going to tell me that, well, it was just a liquidity grab, right? So that's how I'm doing it. When SoFi earnings happens, I'm going to get a contract that's probably within a month long. maybe 1 week. And I am playing volatility at that point. I won't be holding that for long. Essentially, if SoFi doesn't do what I want it to do in like recent time, like very soon after I buy the contracts, then I'm probably going to cut that out and then go for some longs or some leaps. But there you have it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you've been making money on SoFi, let me know in the comments. If you've been rocking with me this whole time about it, hey, let's keep going. Please like, please subscribe, please become a member. We do a lot over there when it comes to technical analysis and then doing deep dives when it comes to these option trade plays that I post publicly. So those trades that I post publicly, following that video, typically the orcas, the anglers, and the megalodons, we are talking about the details, right? We're diving deep as far as what we're looking for on a deeper level for entering and exiting our positions. So if you can appreciate that, you want to learn a little bit, hey, come holler at your boy. But after tomorrow, your boy's gonna be on the beach somewhere. All right, this is Stocks for Real. Take care.